Imagine for a moment that everything you learned about the beginning of human civilization was wrong, that the timeline we've been taught, the logical sequence of events that led early humans from caves to building cities and empires, was only part of the truth. What if over 12,000 years ago, long before the pyramids, before Stonehenge, and even before the invention of agriculture, our ancestors were already constructing colossal monuments, complex temples that challenge our most fundamental understanding of who they were and what they were capable of? Prepare to discover Göbekli Tepe, a name that for many still sounds strange, but for archaeologists and historians, it's a whisper from the past that has turned into a shout, echoing through millennia and rewriting the earliest chapters of our own history. This isn't just an archaeological site. It's an anomaly, a stone paradox that forces us to ask, who were we, really, before we became civilized? And what else does history hide from us? The story of Göbekli Tepe begins modestly, almost by accident. In 1963, a team of American archaeologists noticed some unusual stone slabs on a hill in southeastern Turkey near the city of Şanlıurfa. They dismissed them as mere Byzantine grave markers and moved on. But fate had other plans for that hill, known locally as Potbelly Hill, Göbekli Tepe. Decades later, in 1994, a visionary German archaeologist, Dr. Klaus Schmidt, revisited the site. He had a hunch. Those slabs weren't ordinary. They had a peculiar T-shape that he had seen before at other Neolithic sites, but on a much smaller scale. What he didn't know was that he was about to unearth not just a site, but a revolution in archaeology. As excavations progressed, what emerged from the arid Anatolian soil was unprecedented. These weren't graves, but a series of circular and oval enclosures, each containing enormous limestone pillars, some over 5 meters tall and weighing up to 20 tons. And most impressively, many of these pillars were meticulously carved with intricate depictions of wild animals. Slithering snakes, cunning foxes, fierce boars, birds of prey. These weren't abstract figures, but vivid representations, full of movement and detail. The scale of the construction is breathtaking. Think about it. Removing stone blocks from a nearby quarry, transporting them, carving them with rudimentary tools, and erecting them in concentric circles. This would require complex social organization, coordination of labor, and a level of planning that, until now, we believed was impossible for hunter-gatherer societies. But what truly shocked the archaeological world wasn't just the magnificence of the structures, nor the complexity of the carvings. It was the dating. Carbon-14 analysis revealed that Göbekli Tepe was built and used between 10,000 and 9,000 BC. To put that into perspective, Göbekli Tepe is about 7,000 years older than the pyramids of Giza. It's 6,000 years older than Stonehenge. It's older than the invention of writing, the wheel, and crucially, large-scale agriculture itself. The standard historical narrative teaches us that agriculture was the catalyst for civilization. Humans learned to cultivate food, settled in permanent villages, populations grew, and only then did they develop the social organization and technology needed to build great monuments and cities. But Göbekli Tepe completely reverses this logic. Its builders were, by all accounts, hunter-gatherers, nomadic or semi-nomadic, living by hunting and gathering wild plants. How then did they manage to conceive, plan, and execute such a monumental engineering and art project? This suggests that the need to build a place of worship, a ceremonial center, may have been what drove social organization, large-scale cooperation, and perhaps even the eventual transition to agriculture, to sustain the labor needed for such undertakings. Göbekli Tepe is not just a temple, it's a stone library, an enigma carved into pillars that whispers secrets about an era we thought we knew. It forces us to ask, what else did these hunter-gatherers know? What kind of complex beliefs motivated them to dedicate so much effort to a place that wasn't for dwelling, but for something much deeper? And what happened to this advanced civilization that suddenly vanished, leaving behind only these enigmatic ruins? In Part 1, we uncovered the shocking truth about Göbekli Tepe, a monumental complex built by hunter-gatherers over 12,000 years ago, challenging the accepted chronology of civilization. But the existence of Göbekli Tepe raises more questions than answers. Who were these builders? And perhaps the most intriguing question of all, what was the true purpose of this extraordinary place? The T-shaped pillars are Göbekli Tepe's most distinctive feature. Many archaeologists believe they represent stylized human figures with arms flexed along their sides. The animal carvings, in turn, are incredibly detailed and varied. Snakes, foxes, boars, gazelles, birds of prey, spiders, and even insects. What did these animals mean to them? Were they totems, clan symbols, representations of deities or spirits? The most widely accepted theory is that Göbekli Tepe was a sanctuary, a ceremonial center of epic proportions, a place where different groups of hunter-gatherers gathered periodically for rituals, celebrations, or perhaps to share knowledge. The absence of evidence for permanent habitation at the site suggests it was not a city, but rather a sacred meeting point. Some researchers, like Dr. Graham Hancock, go further, suggesting that Göbekli Tepe could have been a primitive astronomical observatory. The positions of the pillars and the orientations of the enclosures might have been aligned with celestial events, such as solstices or equinoxes, or even the rising of certain constellations. The animal carvings could represent constellations or cosmic cycles. If true, our ancestors possessed a much more sophisticated astronomical knowledge than we imagined, and Göbekli Tepe would be a kind of Stonehenge much, much older. But this is just one of many theories attempting to unravel its secrets. And here lies one of Göbekli Tepe's greatest mysteries. Why was it deliberately buried? It wasn't abandoned and covered by the sands of time. At some point around 8000 BC, the builders, or their descendants, decided to completely bury the complex, filling the enclosures with tons of earth and debris. Why such an effort to hide something so monumental? The theories vary. Some suggest it was an act of preservation to protect the site from invaders or the passage of time. Others believe it was a closing ritual, marking the end of an era or a religious cycle. Perhaps the transition to agriculture, which was beginning to spread through the region, made the hunter-gatherer lifestyle obsolete, and with it, the need for such a grand ceremonial center. Could it be a farewell to a way of life, a symbolic burial of a golden age of hunting and gathering? What Göbekli Tepe teaches us is that the history of humanity is far more complex and full of twists than textbooks tell us. It suggests the existence of a civilization, or at the very least, a highly organized and spiritually rich society, much earlier than previously thought possible. This leads us to ask, how many other Göbekli Tepes are waiting to be discovered, buried beneath the sands of time or beneath the surface of our own preconceptions about the past? Only a small fraction of Göbekli Tepe has been excavated so far. It is estimated that dozens of other untouched enclosures exist, waiting to reveal their secrets. Each new discovery may bring more pieces to this monumental puzzle, or it may deepen the mystery even further. Göbekli Tepe is not just an ancient ruin, it is a reminder that history is not static. It is a field of continuous discoveries, where every new shovel of earth can unearth a truth that rewrites our past, and by extension, makes us rethink our present and future. It invites us to keep an open mind, to question what is taken for granted, and to embrace the possibility that our ancestors were far more sophisticated, complex, and mysterious than we ever imagined. The enigma of Göbekli Tepe remains, It challenges us to look at the past with new eyes, to seek answers not only in the stones but in the questions they inspire in us. And you, what do you think Göbekli Tepe truly means for the history of humanity? Leave your theory in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey through time and mystery, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next investigations.